Alright, welcome to the day 4 of the Chinese World Championship qualifier. Today we have the day 2 of the Group B going on with Sif and Xiaoti leading the group to start the day, Ju Chanyu and what is his name? Yonosuke uh, in trouble, while Chosen One and Small Juan will go up against each other in the first series of the day, try to decide if where they stand at in this tournament or in the series that'll decide where they stand in this tournament. And this time we will start not with a full game, which we have actually 4 games, which I've prepared 4 games for you today, uh, and but with a moment from the first game of the day. This was, I think, the most exciting day of the entire tournament so far, and this moment is a little special. So first thing that happens in this game is Chosen One is okay. Well, let me actually rewind this. Chosen One is in this peculiar position, staring down a relatively large board with no board clear in hand. The hydration station that's on the far left only resurrects the Tortola so far, so the Tortola would just get traded away, and this looks like a little bit of trouble. So then he plays the Marin, takes the Wanderer's Wand, trying to find the Brawl, and he finds not only the Brawl, but also a Gain 10 and a Zarok's Crown, plays the Brawl, his Marin wins the Brawl, and then his Crown finds a Tortola. Incredible. I don't even know what to say. He hit like the best possible outcome on everything that happened this turn. Is absolutely crazy. So he went from possibly losing the game at that moment, not certainly, to absolutely and completely winning with no chance for the opponent. And then the game goes on for a little bit. Uh, Let me scroll through. Yeah. The game goes on and on and on. And then I think somewhere around here, I just wanted to get you guys down to the outcome of this game to see how it ended. Oh, they've been going at it for a little while, which is why I don't really want to show you the entirety of this game. Yeah, he has 70 something life. And now this turn happens, where he's just on an empty board. He's really setting up to kill the opponent. He finds a ceaseless in case he needed another board clear. And then he starts gesturing a little bit about what's happening, looks at the admin. He looks very scared. We don't know what happened. And what happens is there's a golden kobold on the board. And all of his cards that were in his hand are gone. He misclicked into playing the golden kobold. And now he doesn't have any board clears in hand. And none of these legendaries actually do anything. And the opponent has a ceaseless. And he has a Bob to copy another ceaseless from the board. So he's just losing all of a sudden. Like, he also got rid of his quest so that he can't even like win with time warp anymore. But it's just crazy. Nothing can be done about the misclick, and he actually ends up conceding this game like a moment later after opponent buffs the ceaseless, and ends up going down in the series. Actually, right now, yeah. Absolutely crazy game. He found a way to high roll his way back into it with the Marin, and then loses the game right after that. And this is how today starts. And it does not drop the pace from there. So further on in this series, we have a quest mage versus a discover hunter from Smolder 1. We have the mulligans. Nothing really interesting and worth keeping here. Maybe the needy for the hunter, but not really. Obviously, mage keeps the quest. And this is the one that I want to take you through a little more. Smolder 1 has a great hand with the scarab and the tracking and encounters, able to discount them. There's an aggressive Ziliax, I think, with +1 attack, and that gets cheaper for every minion too. And he finds Nael. It's a great hand. Chosen One did manage to finally win a game of his warrior after it also lost to a rogue, I think. And he does need to win two games against a hunter here to stay in the series. Small Juan even goes for a scout, forcing the opponent to remove it on the turn where he would want to play the pocket card. I don't remember how it's pocket dimension. Yes, that's its name. Chosen One does not play the pocket dimension because it wasn't in hand. Plays all their time instead. Does not find a way to remove the scout, which is quite unfortunate. There are plenty of ways to do that in there. But he does find a bunch of ways to complete the quest, and he should be done with the quest by turn 5 or 6, I presume. And with the Raptor Herald on the far left side of the hand, he will be able to get a big board swing coming when he finishes that quest. Small Juan here takes a Mixologist from the hero power, decides to overdraw. It's a little bit of a strange play in there, because I think there was like a grift. There was something offered that we really wanted. I don't remember what it was. I think it was a Grifta. But it goes for Mixologist nevertheless. Loses the Grifta, goes in with the Needy for a large tempo board. But these tempo boards are not exactly that good against the mage, I would say. Also, that was a new card available in the event that released during this qualifier, Welcome Home, showing up, which reopens the location completely useless in this situation. It does the Chosen One does find a way to kill the Needy, but it doesn't really find a way to do much else about this board. Which sometimes the quest can just flame strike the board randomly and get rid of the board like this. Here Small Juan makes another play which I am not very thrilled with. First of all, he dismantles one of the secrets. Normally you would want to play the Ziliax here, put the opponent to free, make them feel in trouble. There's no Relic of Kings in Chosen One's deck. But he decides to play the Sylvanas instead, to try to play around explosive runes, which I am very, very uncertain of, because the Sylvanas can be very useful to answer a board that the quest mage can make really quickly with a Raptor Herald or a Stonehill Defender, both available for Chosen One soon. And Chosen One does find a Blizzard off a Primordial Glyph, which gives him the opportunity to make this relatively large board with a Wind Fury and a 6/6 lifesteal that he's going to be able to play from hand for free with Taunt. And now we really wish that we had that Sylvanas. Maybe this is a little results oriented, but this situation is not that unlikely to come up. Like the reason why people brought Quest Mage to this tournament is because it specializes in all of the tempo swings. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that my camera was in the wrong spot. And yeah, the Small Juan will have a way to stall the game for a while with this Bob Freeze. And Chosen One can't really do that much other than remove the minions. Doesn't really want to use his remaining 2 quest charges because the random spells could kill his minions off, and summoning more minions does not really help that much. Since you would have to play 1 minion that summons another minion. That first minion is not going to be too large. No, you just want to wait until your board gets cleared. Which I'm not even sure if that can happen very easily. Maybe with just a Mixologist potion, but that's about it. Yeah, Small Juan will freeze the lifesteal minion to make sure that the opponent does not gain any life, and will play for finding a lethal. Does find potentially up to 9 damage from this Alleria, which may come in handy a little later. does have to bounce the Glacial Shard to also not die to this Cephalopod. A little bit of a peculiar order. I would have maybe preferred to play the Mixologist first, just in case we roll like a 2 AoE plus freeze or something. So that we can use the Mixologist potion instead of the Brewmaster there. But nevertheless, the mage does make more board, but what he's really looking for here would be life gain. Because, or direct damage, but it's not that easy to find direct damage from the random mage spells. There's a lot of other utility tools that exist within the mage spell pool. Now he just, Small Juan plays in a really strange way where he just like gets rid of the scout for not much reason at all. Freezes the minion with less attack. I'm really not really sure what's going on, but he did the important thing of setting up lethal. It does not set up a lethal through counterspell, importantly. But even if the Mixologist potion misses on the plus 3 damage here, he can still deal 4 damage with the 4 mana spell, and then put the precise shot in the middle of his hand by playing the Mixologist, and deal 5 damage to the opponent's face with that. And he does roll the 3 damage from the potion also, luckily for him, and that is going to wrap the game up. And Small Juan does, even though his play on Hunter was quite questionable, here does win the series and goes up to being 2-0 and almost certainly making it to the top 8 at this point, I think, with how this group comes out later. Then the next series that I have for you, or the next game that I have from you, is a highlight of this Peddler Demon Hunter brought by Sith. He's the only person to bring the deck in the tournament, and it goes up against the very well-known Hagafa Shaman, which actually has been performing quite alright throughout the tournament after all. Struggling a little bit in some series, but overall finding its way to wins, and I think having slightly above 50% win rate at this point. But as for Sif so far in this tournament, he goes undefeated, and he also does have the absolute stone cold nuts, as we call it in the Hearthstone community, with being on coin with coin ravaging Fell Screamer, which discounts the Spirit Peddler, which will allow him to discount his entire hand with return policy, play window shoppers and Ziliacs for very cheap, and just flood the board over and over and over again, which is what we'll see this game. Yonosuke does play the Elise. I'm not sure about playing the Elise over Hagafa here. I think I'd much rather play some 5/5s and 6/6s with casting spells. Does find the Hex for the Spirit Peddler, though, which is quite nice. But that does not stop Sif, since he has the return policy. Decides to go with the Elise instead, just because it spends mana a little better. Picks a 5. We didn't really see what the location was. And this board, it does look quite strong, technically, but the location does have +2 attack, so that'll clean the board up. And also, I guess there's no also, we can't do anything if we play the location, unless this Discover spell gets us something. That is cool. Oh no, okay, we decide to grab a Guaranteed Peddler from the weapon instead, since we already drew our only other Death Rattle being the Fellbat, and clean up most of the board, just leaving the Shaman with 1/5/5. The location is not great, it's a Discover spell and Death Rattle, which it might come in handy later on, if there is a later on, but you are a little worried about getting overwhelmed here. The Typhoon from the location is very clutch, though. Just in case Sif manages to flood the board effectively, this will answer it quite well. This is a situation where you could consider going for Chronolord Deos. Discount 2 different minions, but if you miss, you're in a little bit of trouble. He hits the Window Shopper instead, gets another Ferocious Fellbat from the Window Shopper, which allows him to play that return policy and get more Spirit Peddlers in play, flood the board entirely, and this Typhoon has to save Yonosuke from the board flood. Unfortunately for Yonosuke, there is gonna be more where that came from. There are another 2 Fellbats in hand for Sif, which will be very difficult to answer. But this is a turn where at least Sif is not threatening lethal, so Yonosuke can take a little bit of time to develop. Finds either Champions or Baking Soda Volcano. Not exactly sure which one he ends up picking. I think Baking Soda Volcano is a little better of a card in this situation, as we are at 16, a little bit worried. And we do take our time to play the Hagafa finally. Draw Furious Fowls and Wish Upon a Star, maybe allowing us to try to get back into this game. But it is going to be rather difficult as the Ziliax comes down to 7 damage. Might even go face, might get traded into the Hagafa, creating a large bird instead. And this looks extremely troubling for Yonosuke again. Right now, this does not look like a situation where you have that many outs. I mean, you could play the Ziliax, but then you use up your only source of healing. The Ziliax probably gets answered. He does go for the Volcano first. Actually manages to kill 2 minions with it, which lets him take a different play with playing a Growfin, clearing another one of the minions, and getting a Furious Fowls, killing another one of the minions here, clearing up the Demon Hunter board. But the Demon Hunter has a lot of rush available to him with even this Deos and return policy of the top if he chooses to go for that. Which looks quite powerful. It is a little scary to do that turn into the location opening up with the Death Rattle available on it to deal 5 AoE to the entire board of the Demon Hunter. But this is still like a powerful enough turn where I think you don't really, like, you're not really worried about the location, since the board will get clean. Like, even if the board gets cleaned up, then your entire hand ends up costing 0, and then you have just another board again. And he managed to pick up even a Fellbat with, I think, Charge, and another Dark Gift Window Shopper with a different Dark Gift, which I don't really remember what it was. And yeah, the Shaman will clean it up. We'll find a Shaladrasil to potentially help you clean up another board, but the problem with that is you kind of need to corrupt it, and you also need to have hand space for it, which is just a little difficult. The Elise location for Sif still in hand, not where he would like to be. I assume he was expecting that Shaman would not magically find 1,000 board clears, which he did thanks to Elise. But this Kerrigan is still going to be really strong here, cleaning up the rest of the board of the hero power, sending the Fellbat damage to the face. And now, finally, the Shaman does not seem to have an answer to this situation. He could go for the Shaladrasil with playing the Frosty Decor maybe first for Corrupted Dream. Just does not sound very appealing. I mean, none of the options really do. And that is going to be a wrap, I think. Yeah, like, you'd really like to play the 5 AoE, but you don't have the mana to do that. He doesn't even find the 5 AoE. He does make a board that looks like maybe it has a chance of keeping him alive, but we know that's not the case because of the red card in Sif's hand and the plus attack location. Picks up even a removal spell for good measure, and that is going to bring Sif to a 2-0 lead, and he does end up eventually winning this series 3-0, going 9-0 in game score in the entire tournament, and we'll see him a little bit later in the final game of the day going up against Zhao Ti, who is also 3-0 at this point, to decide who is going to actually even win the entire group. Meanwhile, in this series, we have Ju Chen-yu versus what's the name of the guy? I don't remember. Yonosuke? Is it Yonosuke again? I think so. Sorry for switching around a little bit. Ju Chen-yu on his Aviana Druid, being the only person that brought it. No, it's the chosen one again. I'm sorry. Yeah, Ju Chen-yu again on his Aviana Druid, where the goal is to play the Aviana and then try to win with the legendaries. Chosen one on the Quest Mage, even though we don't see the quest, because it's hidden by the production. He does find the Aviana on turn 4, and he's going to be able to play a Story of Barnabas with it. The mage is slowly going on with the quest. He finds an Octosari from the Aviana, which is actually really good in this deck because you don't really care that much about milling cards, and you do lack card draw usually with how this deck functions, and it also draws you into your 1-mana legendaries, which you can use to generate even more tempo. So that will be almost certainly hitting the board next turn. The mage game is going well. He does have a tight pulse. He got a couple of other spells to progress this quest. I think he's at 5 out of 7 at this point, and he will be finishing the quest either next turn or turn after. Ju Chen-yu finds a Ceaseless also from the Aviana, just for having a board clear, just in case. Oh no, he's actually fully done with the quest. I didn't even know that. And he finds that is a Charge Ultra Gigasaur. How often do you see that? Unfortunately, and this hurts me to see, the Ultra Gigasaur has to trade with the Octosari so that Ju Chen-yu can't refill anymore. He does burn the Vol'jin, which would be very useful against this Ultra Gigasaur. Yeah, he burned actually 3 of his legendaries, but the Ceaseless does come down to swing the board back up. And then he draws 2 legendaries that both get him an Octosari. The left one is Merifra, which will resummon just the Octosari so far, as it resummons all of your minions that cost 8 or more that died this game. And the right one is Endbringer Umbra, which will trigger the death rattle of the Octosari. So this is a little bit of an awkward situation, because I said that you don't care about milling, but you do care about milling if you end up going to fatigue. He does play Kara the Darkstar and Marifra just to establish another board. But that does make this Umbra really questionable to play. Chosen one does get some taunts. The Stonehill Defender is going to be able to defend himself a little bit, but not really for long, given that there is a swipe and an ebb and flow, letting Ju Chen-yu get through the taunts quite effectively. Also picks up another minion. He was hoping for a big one to be able to play it. That wish was not really granted. Does get to push 10 damage though, with this Octosari being buffed by Mark of the Wild. Against an ice barrier though, but it still threatens lethal on the board. The astrobiologist not really coming in clutch, as the flame geyser kills the random 10 drop, which was gonna remove a minion that he got from Anomalize, and now he needs to find a different answer. I am actually perplexed why he did not take the Storage Scuffle and held the Sheep Mask. Yes, the Sheep Mask can low roll and hit your own 10-10, but I think you're really looking at high rolling this in this situation. Like just taking the Sheep Mask, I don't think is going to work particularly well. He does try to high roll the Chalice, does not really happen, and he is just going to be staring 15 or 11 damage on the board, which combined with the burn from hand of the Ebb and Flows will get him killed at the end of this game, and will lead Ju Chenyu to a 1-0 lead. Ju Chenyu will eventually win this series, 3-1, I believe, and will recover a little bit. So to a 1-2 score, sending the Chosen One to 0-3. And the final series of the day that I'm gonna bring you is this Xiaoti versus Sif series. This is the first series where Sif has dropped games, as he is already down 1-2 against Xiaoti. Both players fighting actually for the win of this group. Whoever wins this match will end up winning the group and picking their opponent out of the spots 3 and 4 in the other group for the match qualifying to the World Championship in top 8. And Xiaoti is on his Death Knight, while Sif is on the Hagafa Shaman here. Xiaoti hits a pretty good start with the Creature of Madness on the play. That's kind of what you want from this deck, while Sif has a very strange to play start with 2 locations and a Hagafa, which, like, you have to, from what I know about this Shaman deck, it is going to be a really strong start, because you're just going to be able to cheat out lots of mana with these Hagafa minions. But it is like a little strange to play because you don't, like you need to match how you're clicking your locations. I'm actually kind of surprised that these Murlocs did not hit the board yet. I would have expected them to. But maybe he's saving mana on these locations for something particular. Xiaoti finds an overplanner here, decides on what his top decks are gonna be. I'm not really gonna be looking into that much. And Hagafa does come down. He gets a Furious Fowls and a Wish Upon a Star, which does seem pretty straightforward to me. You just like you're just meant to double click play Furious Fowls, then double click play a Wish Upon a Star, right? It's just, I don't really see what else to do here. Like maybe you want to flight for some bellhops or whatever. He decides to only click once, which, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter how many times you click this turn, as long as you play the Furious Fowls next turn, really. There is an Elise, and Xiaoti is looking at his options. He's taking quite a long time deciding between, I think that was attack and armor, and he does take attack, and discover a spell is the other option. And Sif, I don't really understand this play. He plays Flight of the Firehawk to draw bellhops with no big spell in hand that activates them. I am not really sure what's going on there. Xiaoti finds this is either Remorseless Winter or the middle one that summons Tutus. I don't really remember its name. He does go for the Remorseless Winter, setting up for whatever Sif is cooking. But Sif is playing a Wish Upon a Star now? And okay, he's playing a Murloc to combat the board a little bit. But he's at 13 with 4 damage on the board against a deck that is pretty well known to be a burn deck. So I don't really understand why we didn't fight for board a little earlier here. I mean, we could have gotten that Furious Fowls down and then wish upon a star down on the Furious Fowls, and then hopefully picked up an expensive spell so that we can build a wall of bellhops. Sif's plan, I think, was to play a Zilliax, and that falls apart a little bit to this Demolition Renovator from Creature of Madness, which is going to be a huge problem. He does pick up a big spell, so he can put on a large wall of Bumbling Bellhops in the way, but he is going to have to trade with basically all of his minions here just to play around Death Knight's plus attack location, helping him remove the board. You do have to trade in once first before you can play this Pterodox, which is what Jati is going to do. And he finds Wave of Tar off this location, which will allow him to basically full clear the board in a quite clean way, and either play a Giant or play a Baron. Probably a Giant, realistically, by just taking some efficient trades and threaten lethal against the Shaman who can't play minions. He does pick up Pop-Up Book, which might save him. Or the Shaman, okay, the Shaman can play minions, they're just not gonna be very effective. Since they cost so much more this turn. And yeah, Sif will not be able to play the Zilliax either way. The taunts will be in the way, but not for long, because the weapon pickup off the top will conclude the series in Xiaoti's way, and Xiaoti already is guaranteed to win the group on day 2. A fantastic performance throughout the tournament from him, and yeah, he will just chill until Sunday when the deciders are going to happen. And for today, the group standings are: Xiaoti leads the tournament with 4-0 score, or leads the group with 4-0 score. Zhu Qianyu recovered a little bit, is 1-2 now, and he's in the 4th place, making it, as it currently stands, to the top 8, as Yonosuke and Chosen One are struggling at the end of the pack, both 0-3, and going up against each other in the first game on Saturday. Make sure to tune in for that to see if any of them can recover, while Sif and Small Juan will be battling for placements at the end of the day on Saturday. Yes, battling for that 2nd and 3rd place to maybe avoid being picked. Although I have a feeling that if Zhu Qianyu makes the top 8, his lineup with the Quest Mage might be the one getting picked, just because I don't think anyone believes in that Quest Mage after its performance today. As far as the stats are concerned for the tournament, we have, can I zoom in on this? We have Discover Hunter getting still banned 73% of the time, but only winning 38% of its games, which it still makes sense, because the only lineups that are leaving it up are the lineups that have a chance against him. All of the other decks in the tournament performing okay, with Cycler, Okaga, Fashaman, and Quest Warrior. Quest Warrior additionally getting banned a little bit improves its adjusted win rate, which is like a measure of performance in the tournament. The Death Knight that Xiaoti brought performing fantastically in the tournament at 60% adjusted win rate. The Peddler DH for Sif and the Aviana Druid for Zhu Qianyu also have not dropped the game yet, but the Quest Mage is really the problem deck, and the Drunk Paladin from Yokozuna, I think, whatever his name was, Yonosuke. Yes, that one, that person. I'm sorry for butchering his name. Yeah, so we'll be back with more recap tomorrow, the conclusion of Group A. We will see whether Yan Ming, who is actually in trouble right now, can make the top 8 cut. And we will see if Loftstorm can secure his first placement, and who else makes it to the top 8 for the finale on Sunday. So stay tuned for that. Have a wonderful rest of your day, night, wherever you are. And I'll catch you next time. Bye.